Hi, everyone. Welcome back to No Playbook Needed. I'm your host, Sierra. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Today, I am joined by Alexa, and instead of focusing on one specific path or thing, this conversation is going to be really all about her story and her experiences and whatever she's comfortable with sharing. So, Alexa, welcome to No Playbook Needed.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. How's everything been going?
It's been going.
Good, good. I know Alexa's my West Coast girly, so
Mhm.
very, very excited to hear your story and everything. So that being said, I'm so excited to dive into this. As we were just
Yes.
talking briefly before starting the recording, I'm like, I cannot wait to hear all about this. As you know, this is a safe space that I want to give to people, and you've been very kind in listening to all of my recent episodes. So welcome, and I'm so
Thank
excited to
you.
have you.
I know. I'm excited.
Yes. Okay, so I want to dive right in.
Okay.
So, for the people who don't know you, kind of including myself,
Yes.
give us a little backstory on you and why you wanted to come on.
Okay. So, like you said, my name's Alexa. I was born and raised in the Seattle, Washington area. I am adopted. And I also live in a blended family, and we've just had a lot of life happen. And I've experienced a lot of life from being adopted that, includes feeling rejected, feeling out of place, not knowing who I am, discovering who I am, but still questioning really who I am.
Yep.
And this whole last year, I have actually met my birth family. So then I'm also learning and seeing things where I'm like, whoa, like I do that. And I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
makes so much sense. So it's been a lot. It's been a journey. There's been ups and downs, but it's still been really good. So,
Okay, so let's start kind of from the beginning. How did you find out you were adopted? Like, take us kind of through the adoption journey that you live.
okay. So I was adopted literally, I went home 3 days after I was born. So our birth family actually knew my parents, which is very rare. My aunt taught at a Christian school with my mom. And so she had found out her sister was pregnant and she called my mom and said, "Hey, I know somebody who wants to give up a baby. Would you be interested?" And my mom had actually had a few miscarriages before this time. So my oldest sister is actually 11 years older than me. So I came very later on in life for my parents, but they had always wanted more kids, and so I came into the picture. And so when I came into the picture, everything was, great, dandy, whatever. It was a closed adoption, so obviously we had no further communication with them. So our families kind of were intertwined and then went our separate ways because it was closed. So during all of that time, childhood and everything, around I think I was 1, my dad actually left the picture. So he left and he ended up getting remarried when I was 3. So left my mom and she was a single mom to me and my sister for 4 years because she ended up getting remarried when I was 5. Lot happening in that, but obviously I was a baby, so it was kinda like, does
Yeah.
it does it really affect you? But I always asked my mom, like, everybody talks about their terrible twos, and she's like, "You were quiet," but I was also such a daddy's girl, and I've always been a big feeler, like, I feel everything. So she's like, "You just had big feels as a kid," and I was like, "Oh, makes sense, makes
Yeah, yeah.
sense."
I get that.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you not feel, and especially being adopted, like, you go through these waves of, like, feeling slightly rejected, feeling abandoned, and then your dad leaves you, and you don't really know because 'cause you're little, so
Yeah.
you're, growing up in life, and the one thing I'll say is, like, my dad, such an amazing man, we talk every day, love him, but he
Good.
was always present in our life. He did have some substance abuse that we dealt with, like, when we were older, but always there, always there. Came to, like, dance performances, graduations, like, he was never not a present dad, so we feel very lucky in that way, and then so when he got remarried, we gained a brother. So he's 5 years younger than me, so my family is quite large
Yeah. Yep.
because we gained a brother, which was, fun for me. My sister was, like, I don't know, 16 or 17 when he was born, so,
Yeah.
for her, it's like another sibling. But she loved him too. We were her babies because
Yeah,
we were
got
so
it. Yep.
far, like, apart
Yep.
from her. But and then my mom got remarried when I was 5,
Okay.
and my stepdad had 3 daughters, so then I gained 3 more
3
sisters.
sisters. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So very big family, We all blended really well, like, we don't call each other step siblings, they're,
Yeah.
sisters, and my brother, we don't call him our half brother, he's our brother.
Yeah.
So that's just kinda how we always grew up, but, like, going through life and then more people coming in,
Yeah.
I always kinda felt like I was on, like, the back burner because 'cause
Yep.
I'm trying to find myself. Growing up hearing I was adopted, like, every birthday, my mom would share my adoption story with me and very open about it, very open,
Good.
which was great.
Yeah.
But, you always wonder, like, every Mother's Day, is she thinking about me? Every holiday, like,
Oh,
what do they
yeah.
do for their holidays? Like,
Yeah. What are their
would I wanna
traditions? Yeah.
yeah, like, and I used to always be like, "I wonder if they're famous. I wonder if they're royalty." Like, you go through, like, all the things, and, like,
All the feels.
I kinda blame Hannah Montana, though, because I'm like, "How do you know that you're not royalty or, like, famous
Yeah.
or something?" And then playing it off, like but there's none of that. None of that.
So you keep mentioning, kind of finding yourself, which I think almost everyone, if not everybody who listens to this, has experienced that or maybe still is experiencing that.
Mhm.
So, was there ever a moment in your life where you really questioned who you were, especially knowing that you were adopted?
Oh, yes. Lots of moments of that. I would say a lot as, like, a teenager because you're, like, you're finding your friends in middle school and high school and, like, the cliques that you wanna fit in with or whatever, and it's just, like I had older sisters, so I always, like, clung to all of their friends, and some
Yeah.
of my sisters, it was like, "Oh, they wanna go on a date or they wanna go hang out with these friends, you gotta go be the chaperone," which it was like, "Really? You're just tagging along, right? Like, you're 9, what are you gonna do?" But then at the same time, you're just kinda like, "Who am I?" And my family calls me Lucille Ball because I crack the jokes all the time. Or, like, somebody will say something and I make a face, and I'm just like, "I don't know, like, I don't understand," and I'm, like, so quick-witted, will, like, respond with sarcasm. My family's not that way, and my friends are not that way, so it was always like, "I'm sorry, like, I'm not trying to offend you, I'm not trying to, like, take a
I'm
serious
just trying to
moment
be
and make a joke out
funny.
of it, but, like, this
Yeah.
is my response
It's
mechanism."
that dark humor. I'm sorry.
Never understood why, like, never got it, but as I've gotten to meet, like, my birth family, I'm, like, sitting at dinners, and they're, like, shooting back and forth at each other, and I'm like, "Oh, this makes sense." So I feel like I thought I knew who I was and, like, kind of found myself, built, like, my personality, my friend circle, and just, like, who I was and presented myself that way, and then I've met my birth family, and I'm like, "Everybody's about to get, like, a 2.0 version because
Yeah.
that actually wasn't me, guys." Like,
Yep.
no, here's the new me, like, this is me being real to myself. They're sarcastic, I need to stay sarcastic because that's just
Yeah.
second nature, like, it's so easy.
Yes. No, that's so awesome to hear. So, I feel like this is a good question. What has your journey with your identity looked like over time?
It's been ups and downs. There have been some very dark places where I was just like I went through an emo phase as, like, a teenager,
I feel like
probably
all
from really,
millennials
like,
do at one point.
12 to 15,
Yeah.
and, like, I'm sure my mom would say that was my terrible twos. Like,
Okay,
12
got
to
it.
15 was my terrible twos. Like, brat, pill, like, my sisters will say the same thing, "You were a pill, you were a brat." Like, I know I was, but it was like, I think at that point, my mom was becoming more open with the story, and social media is obviously a thing. So I started snooping. I knew, like, last names and I knew, like, our families were connected. So I would log on to my mom's social media and snoop. And so I actually, like, would find their social media pages because 'cause they're friends with my mom and would, like, look at pictures and be like, "Oh, this is my family," and all of this stuff. And then, like, you just sit there and you're like, "Do they think about me like they're friends with you on social media? Are they friends with you so they can see me or because you knew them before? Like,
Yeah.
can I just
No,
talk to
those are
them? I
very
wanna
yeah.
talk to them."
Those
But
are very valid, like, thoughts and questions, especially as a teenager, like, you're
mhm.
still becoming a human being and developing in your teenage years. So, yeah, no, those are very valid thoughts and feelings for sure.
Yeah. And being the youngest and all of my sisters were, like, married and starting to have kids, and they're, like, their own little posse, and I'm like, "Hey,
Yeah.
guys, I'm here, right
I'm
here.
still
Hi,
here.
it's me." Because then, like, you become the babysitter because 'cause you're the youngest, which is
Yep.
fine, it was great. I loved babysitting for them and, like, hanging out with my nieces and nephews, but it was also like I wanna go do things too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm the oldest, so I always got stuck babysitting, and then, like, when I got my license, I got stuck driving them around everywhere,
Yeah.
so I get it to an extent.
Yeah. I I'm all 3 actually, so
Okay.
in, like, the birth order, I found out that my birth mother had kids after
Okay.
me when she got married.
Okay.
So I'm actually the oldest, and then with
Okay.
my dad, when he left my mom and then had my brother, I became the middle, and
Okay.
then when my mom got remarried, I became the baby. So I literally have every, like, personality trait
Scenario.
of
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
those. It's like, I will
Yeah.
mother you, but I don't need to mother you. I will
Yes.
be, like, the middle child that will, like, put
I'll be
you
the feral one, like the feral middle
yeah, let me put
child,
you in a
like
knucklehead, like, tackle you real quick, and then
Yeah.
I will play that baby card. I will play that. Yeah.
No, I love
Mhm.
that. Okay, so it's been quite a few years since you've been adopted and you learned about your adoption story.
Mhm.
So, what does belonging mean to you?
Okay, let me try and do this without crying.
Oh,
It's
if
a
you cry,
lot.
I'm a Cancer, so if you cry, I'll cry. It's okay. I got your back.
We'll cry together, it's fine.
Yes.
It took like, I always knew I belonged and, like, I always felt love for my family, but it takes a lot to, like, put aside all of your feelings, like, are they just loving me because I'm here?
Yeah.
But then I also just want to belong, so it's like, if people were talking about me in, like, friend groups or something, it was like, "What can I do to stay in this friend group and stay to, like, where I belong with these friends and get invited to things?" But I think it had to do with my abandonment issues. Like, you deal with the rejection, you deal with, like, not really knowing who you are. So you're trying to belong and you're trying everything you can to belong, whether it's in family or friends or even with yourself.
Yeah.
Because I did not love myself for like the longest time because it was like, I don't know who I am. So I'll love this version of me. But then 2 days later, I might be a completely different version of myself
Yeah. Yeah,
because
no.
you just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's very beautifully put though. So, I give you a lot of credit for
Yeah.
especially experiencing all of that at like a young age and then literally having to carry that through
Hmm.
with you into adulthood, like, that's a beautiful thing, and I
Yeah.
can tell just by seeing you over a camera that you are an incredibly strong and bright, shining light, and I think
Oh,
that has a lot
thanks.
to do with your story for sure.
Yes, it definitely yeah. I've had to go through a lot to get there and to
Yes.
be, like, a bright light. Cause but you gotta fight through stuff to get there,
Yes.
so
Yes.
life is not meant to be easy, even though we all wish it would be, like, smooth sailing, but
Yeah.
mhm,
So, what has, the ups and downs in your life taught you about yourself so far?
that I didn't give up because there was a lot of times where it was like, "Why am I here?" Like,
Yeah.
I know my birth mom chose life, but then at the same time, it's like, I don't know who I am. I don't
Yeah.
know, like I knew that I had self-worth, but it was also just kind of like I toyed with it all the time.
Yeah.
So then, you have moments of like, did they love me? Which she did, percent. Like,
Yeah.
you don't give up a child if you did not love them. Like,
Yes.
that's a very hard thing to do to just give up a child and not get to know anything, especially with a closed adoption, because you don't get to know anything. So, it's a lot, it's a very big decision, but at the same time growing up, it's you deal with all of those, like, voices in your head that are like, "You're not good enough. Why are you here?" You get in an argument with your mom, "Well, she doesn't love you," and it's like, I was given my mother for a reason, I was given my dad for a reason. Yeah, I might fight with them, but there's a lot of that self-doubt of, like, same sort of thing, like, do I fit in? Or even with my family, I look like my stepsisters, I look like my mom, I look like my
Yeah.
sister, and it's I mean, I you see my birth family now and it's like, "Okay, family genes run strong,"
Yeah.
but
My
I
family's the
still look
same way.
yeah, but I
You can look
still
at
look
all of us and be
so
like,
much oh, oh, yeah, mhm, that's my birth family. It's like, "Oh, no,
yeah.
you just fit right there."
Yeah.
But even with my adopted family, like, I look like all of them. Like, me and my mom look so much alike, and everybody is like, "Oh my gosh, she looks so much like your mom," or they tell her, "She looks so much like you," and she's always like, "Thanks, she's adopted." And they're like, I look so much like her, which is so crazy, but so cool all at the same time because it's like you hear that all the time growing up, so you're like, "You're right, I do look like, yeah,
I
that's my
do fit it,
mom." Like,
yeah, hopefully that
yeah.
helps with the fit in thing, yeah, for sure.
Yes, it definitely did because I do see a lot of myself in her, like, we have the same mannerisms and stuff, and then like, getting to know my birth mom now too, it's like, "Oh, there's pieces of her that I also see," but I've literally been with my mom since day 1, so
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing. For those people who do know your story,
Mhm.
do you think there's anything that people misunderstand about your journey?
See, I would say they probably misunderstand because I tend to get really quiet. So, like, even in, like, friend groups, people are like, "Oh my gosh, she's so shy and, like, she won't open up," or I try to get her to open up, but I have become very guarded. I think it has to do with being adopted because it's like, do I really let these people in? Because it's so like, am I gonna feel hurt the way I've felt hurt from adoption, the way that I felt hurt from like when my dad left, or even when I was a teenager and dealing with my dad having substance abuse again and watching my brother go through it and trying to protect my brother. And then it's just like you go through life and you just gotta put those walls up. But I think people do, especially my personality, I think it's misunderstood a lot because like I'll just like crack a joke or do something and everybody will laugh, but they'll be like, "That was so, like, out of place." I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know why it happens." But now I'm like, "Oh, it's like hanging out with my birth family." I'm like, "Blame them." I finally met my uncle a couple weeks ago, and so we all sat and, like, took pictures together, and they were like, "Oh, let's take a silly picture." We did not coordinate this silly picture, we did not talk about it, we
Yeah.
just it was taken, and then we got it from my aunt later in our group text. Our faces are all the same. We're all like our heads are all like tilted. We're all like making goofy faces, but we all stuck our tongues out. They're all going the same direction. And I'm like, who
How
like
does that happen?
how
Yeah.
does that like this seems like it was a pre-planned thing. No, this was spontaneous. We just took like the picture was taken and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
how you know like you are
Yeah.
all goofy family and can like yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so fun to see though and like learn. And it
Mhm.
sounds like the last year has been a lot of learning, and that's really cool.
Yes. Yeah. I know.
Okay, so for this question, this is the question that I ask everybody that comes on. And
Okay.
that question is, when did you realize that there was no playbook for life?
Ooh. I would say more so this last year. Like,
Okay.
I've always known, like, there's not a playbook because I've gone through everything, but I also, like, I grew up in church. So, like, you go spiritual journeys and different things, and I've
Yes.
done, like, women's retreats that our church has that really it's like a 3-day intensive that is, like, amazing because you dig deep in all the things you've gone through and just kinda, like, rediscover yourself in a way. I'd probably be crying the whole time because 'cause I'd be, like, relearning all these things, but, like, I think growing up, like, having faith and all of that is, like, you have things that kinda help you, give you a playbook. But in this situation, there was no playbook. I had no guidance of how do you talk to a birth mom? How do you talk to it was actually my grandma who reached out to me first on 23andMe because I didn't know what I was. I was like, I get people asking me if I'm Russian, if I'm Mexican, like I can't tell you, I don't know. All I know is I'm Spanish and French. That's it. That's all we got told. So I always asked my mom, can I get 23andMe? Can I get 23andMe? And then she finally gave it to me for Christmas, and I got it. I had had it for probably, I would say maybe 2 or 3 years before my grandma reached out on it,
Okay,
and
so it took a
so
while.
yeah, and because she had just gotten it and took it, and then I popped up, and she was like,
Okay.
"Ooh, ooh." So she reached out first, but, like, my birth mom had told all of them, "If you guys ever hear from her or if anybody ever finds her, like, I wanna talk to her first." Getting to talk to my birth mom, like, I sent the initial email to her first, just thanking her for giving me up and, like, giving me this life that I probably like, you don't know what kinda life you would've had. So it's like, I don't know if she would have chosen to go a different route and do abortion instead of adoption, or if she would have
Yeah.
kept me, and if
Kept
she
you.
kept
Yeah, I
me,
was gonna say
how
kept
would my life have been?
Yeah.
She wanted to, but she was 19, almost 20,
Okay. So
and
she was
she
young.
actually turned 20 on the day I went home. So that
Okay, wow.
was really hard for her.
Yeah.
But, like, you just kinda go through life and try and figure all these things out, and so it's just this year has been very up and down getting to know everybody. I've had to grow and learn, like, it's okay to set boundaries even though you're so excited to meet these people and engage with these people and have them in your life, but it's also like I've also had to learn, like, I have a family that I grew up in, and, like,
That I
that's my
love
family.
that
Like,
yeah.
that's my family, so I feel like meeting them, like, yes, they're family and they're my blood, but it's like, you guys are bonus. I'm still figuring out the balance, which it hasn't been super hard, but I juggle with, like, my mom. She's so supportive and wants to know, but then it's like, "Wait, but mom, are you okay?" And she's like, "No, I'm fine." But then we'll get off the phone with her and I'm like, maybe she's not fine and she just doesn't wanna tell me."
Uh,
But that's not the case. But, it's just like you go through this whole thing of like, what do you do? And you leave things and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that was so fun." And that was like my blood family. And then I'll go do stuff with other people in my family and they ask and I tell them and either some of them are like, "Woohoo," or they're like, I'm
yeah.
like,
You
"I
never
understand,
know
but, like,
what
I gotta figure this all out for myself. I appreciate your guys' feelings, concerns, because I do, but it's like,
yeah.
this is me, like, this is my first time actually, like, getting to know me, if that
Mhm.
makes sense,
Yeah.
so, it's been a lot, but it's been good.
Yeah, and to just be introduced
Yeah.
to someone who is a full-fledged adult in their 30s and technically not knowing anything about how you got to where you are, but in the same breath, still so excited to meet you and get to know
Yeah.
you, that probably goes, both ways for both your birth family and yourself as well, so
Yes, because it's meeting all of them, and then my birth mom also had 2 kids, so then it's, like, meeting them and,
"Hi, I'm your sister that you've never met
Yeah,
and you have
no,
no
literally,
idea
like
about."
uh-huh, literally,
Yeah.
they found out in November about me,
Wow,
so they
okay.
literally had no idea.
How do you think they received you?
They actually surprised my birth mom with, like, how okay they were with it, like, when she told them,
Okay.
but they have a whole story themselves. Their
Yeah,
dad had a health condition, he actually passed away a month ago, so I was lucky enough to meet him in September, but
that's
didn't get
awesome.
much time with
Yeah,
him, but he was an amazing man and such a good guy.
only knowing you for an incredibly short amount of time.
Yes.
And just, like, I can just tell the growth that you have and, like, the respect is just there. So,
Mhm.
I love all of that. I love this question. So, what are you still figuring out about yourself?
Jeez, I feel like a lot.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just figuring out, like, how to balance life besides everything that's happening, just life in general, like, what do I wanna be doing? Like, I
Yeah,
work for my parents' company, and I also have my cosmetology license, so I have, like, a little salon up in my house, and so I do hair on the side. Love it, but then it's like, which one do I really wanna put my focus to? Like, what do I wanna do? Like, 'cause I'm such a creative person too, like, I used to be a dancer, I did ballet and, like, hip hop and all of that, I did musical theater. I just think really how strong I am because I haven't really thought about that, and even, like, the retreat that I had mentioned, like, you go on, like, this journey to discover yourself and see if, like, God gives you this name that resembles you, and I went and I got princess, and I was like, "Okay, I know, like, I like glitter, I like nice things, like, I'm a girl's girl, so I get it." And then, like, something came up in conversation after that, and I was like, 'cause I've had to, like, war through some things. So then, like, at this retreat, you get, like, your God-given name, and so I got Warrior Princess, and I actually
okay.
got it tatted on my arm
Okay, yeah, I
as
love
my daily
that.
reminder.
Oh,
And, like, going through what I went through as, being adopted, then my parents separating, and then my mom getting remarried, my dad getting remarried, and then, just
just
life.
the
It's
struggles that come with life, yeah.
yeah, like, not knowing who you are and, like, not really feeling like, I always felt loved, but not in, like, that deep way that I really needed. So, just going through all of that, and it's just, like, realizing after meeting my birth family, you already feel a connection with them even though you haven't met them, but you have to have this strength about you that you never knew you had. So I feel like I've discovered that, and, like, mental health is such a huge thing, and so for most people, it's like to process this and not get down all the time or like
Yes,
discouraged or
or
be like, I
reactive
have to
or
distance myself from everybody because I just don't know. Like, it's taken a lot of mental strength to be like, okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna go. Like, I went to dinner with them yesterday to celebrate my birthday, which was great. And like, my mom came and got to like rekindle with them because she hasn't seen them since the adoption. So there was so many emotions, but then it's like, I came home and most people would probably be like, I'm done, I'm tired. But I
yeah,
was like still thriving off of it. It was like normal me would probably be, like, so mentally not gonna lie, I was drained, but it was still, like, I felt, like, so much happiness because I got to
Mm.
celebrate my birthday with them and have my mom there because she knew them, and
Yeah.
there's just, like, this connection that we haven't got to do yet. So, I feel like strength is really the one because you never know if a door is gonna get slammed in your face when you go to meet them or talk to them or whatever, or, like, they wanna say hi and, like, say thank you or whatever, and then that's the end of communication and you're done. But
Yeah,
that's not what it's been, so
that's awesome. Yeah, no, your strength is literally radiating. I can already tell that about you for sure.
thanks.
For sure, yeah. Okay, one final question, and I'm actually
Okay.
really excited to ask this one. What would you say to someone who feels like they don't know who they are or where they belong?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Therapy definitely helps, I will say that. Therapy does help. But
Had my
having,
therapy
like
appointment before we recorded.
love it, love it. Having, like, your close-knit circle, definitely, like, I have, like, my core group of friends that, like, I've been able to call when I'm like, "Hey, I'm feeling this way," or "This is how this conversation went," and I just, like, I don't know what to do with it, but having your group of friends, obviously, for me, having faith
Yeah,
and just, like, gathering people around you that make you feel safe so you can express yourself, but also when you feel alone, like, they're your go-to people to call,
yeah,
and they help you, like, find yourself along the way, but
yeah,
also just do self-work, like, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's, like, listening to meditations or, like, journaling or going for a hike, like, doing stuff that makes you happy and
yeah,
finding those things, whether it's, like, a hobby. I mean, my brain from being a dancer, I can hear a song and literally, like, the whole dance is choreographed in 5 seconds, but sometimes it's like
You're speaking my language.
right? It's like there's a song that will, like, come on and you're like, "Oh, this song could totally help somebody," but then you're
Yes,
like, "But if you add this dance to it, like, they might get it more because you're literally, like, expressing what they might be feeling."
yes.
So just also don't be hard on yourself. We go through so much life and things happen and we never know what's gonna happen. You can't expect what's gonna happen
Mhm.
because if we could tell what's gonna happen in the future, life would be so easy.
Eh
If we could tell what was gonna happen in our past, like, we
Yep.
wouldn't become who we are if we just knew what was
Knew
gonna
it all.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah. So definitely, like, don't be hard on yourself. It's okay to not know who you
yeah,
are every single day. Because sometimes, like, I might feel like I know who I am or figured myself out, but tomorrow I might nope. And, like, if you have days where you're like, "I just want a couch rot, I just want a bed rot," like, that's all normal, but it's when you start to, like, notice it's happening, like, 2 weeks,
yeah,
3
frequently.
weeks, and you, like, haven't gotten out of it, like, you're still in your funk, like,
Fun.
that's when you need to, like, reach out to those people, but definitely, like, don't be hard on yourself. I started journaling, like, if I was, like, having a day, and it helped get it off my
Yep.
chest,
Mm,
but it's also, like, it helped me not beat myself up. Like, just don't get hard on yourself. Life happens. It's meant to
yes.
happen because if
Mhm.
it doesn't, the world would be too predictable and too perfect.
Yeah. I was gonna say I said it in one of my very first episodes, we were not put on this earth as human beings to be perfect. That is
Correct.
not a thing, and I
No.
like to remind people of that sometimes,
Yeah.
including myself, all the
Yeah.
time.
We're not meant to be perfect. Perfection is not realistic. It causes
Mhm.
too much stress and too much mental issues that people have on the day to day. But it's just finding your people, finding networks like this podcast to be able to
Yeah.
have an open space for people to come and listen. Like, you may not have been adopted, but even just listening to something like this, like, you might have felt rejection in your life or abandonment or, like, not really know who you are, but everybody has it in life.
Yes.
We
Yes.
all go through those moments of questioning.
And it's great to not be alone, and that's one of my
Yeah.
main kind of drivers here is, like, we all have something in common at one point in our lives, and that's the whole
Yeah.
thing, is, like, I want people to listen to people's stories and be like, "Oh my god, like, that resonated so deep, and I didn't know that a stranger I've never seen or heard has gone through the same thing," automatically, hopefully makes people feel good and not
Yeah.
alone.
I always tell people, like, even if I barely know them, like, add
Yeah.
me on Instagram, add me on Facebook, like, if
"Here's my
it's my
number." I
friends
literally
and
was like, "Here's my
yeah,
number."
if I have, like, friends or whatever, I'm like, I usually sleep with my phone on because you never know when someone's
Mhm.
gonna need to call you because 'cause they're just going through it, and
Yeah,
you just gotta kinda help them, like, reevaluate and realize again, like, it's gonna be okay. We're
yeah,
all given tests in life, but without them, like, you can't cross the bridge. Like, we're meant
yes.
to cross the bridge, go on the other side. There's gonna be mountains, there's gonna be hills, but
Yeah. I know
without it,
people
there's
talk
no,
about
like
it takes a village with, like, having kids, but, like,
it takes a
genuinely, I
village
think it
for
takes a
life.
village to just survive, yes. Like, just to survive as
Life
human
takes a
beings, it could
village.
take a village, yes.
Yeah, and if you don't have a village, get a village. Get the safe village because it does
Yes.
take a village. Find, like, family is always there for you, but
Yeah.
find those friends, I mean, sometimes strangers are the best part of the village.
Literally, yes, for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much, Alexa, for sharing your story. I cannot wait for people to hear this. I'm so excited to get your story out there. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to share this with everybody. And I know we literally just met and started talking, but like I feel like I've been friends with you forever, which is kind of crazy. But
I
I
feel
just
the
feel like
same.
that's our vibe.
I'm like, "Add me to your village, we're there,"
Yes.
like
Same. No, 100% same. So thank you again so much. And we will catch everybody on the next episode. Bye, you guys.